This isn't a mystery. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here, along with Erica Wells-Cox, our guest co-host, and Kendrick, who is being very verbose today. Williams, but now he can go off now, you see, because this is his thing. Who is our engineer. How are you doing, Erica?
I'm well, thank you.
And did you have a lovely Valentine's?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. Kendrick, did you have... Listen, man. Yes. Okay.
He gave the
this
thumbs
isn't an
up.
emoji show, okay? All right. You know, he gave us a thumbs up.
And
yeah.
did you have a nice Valentine's?
It was. I had some friends from town, out of town.
Okay.
And so we went to dinner. And what's even good, and they're not here, so they can't hear it. And what's even good is that they paid.
Oh.
So
That's always
oh
good.
yeah. I love that kind of thing. In fact, I was their Valentine. That's how I looked at it. But no. So, and what's happening in town? What's going down? What's of interest to you?
Well, I have been a little distracted from local news today.
What happened?
Well, I was this
Oh, you mean
Donald
just in
Trump
general?
press conference.
What happened? Well, see, I don't really know. So you got to fill me in.
Well, he went on a 77-minute rant, essentially, and it was kind of nonsensical.
Well, that's a given.
Well,
but
I mean, even for him, it was unprecedented.
But you know what he's doing? I'm going to make you a bet.
Okay, tell me.
He's panicking because, let me tell you something. This Russian thing, there's some serious stuff.
It is serious.
Okay? And what he is doing is what is typically what psychopaths and sociopaths do, is he's going into like a mini panic because he knows it's getting closer.
Yeah, he's losing it a little
He's
bit.
deflecting.
Yeah. But
What was it about? What was his rant about?
Ostensibly it was about him announcing his new trade secretary.
And
So
does anyone care about that?
He went and he said, "This is who it is," and then he said, "And I want to make a statement, and then I'm going to
It's
take
about the fake media?
questions." Right?
Oh, okay.
And so we just started kind of talking about Flynn and
The fake
this and
media?
that and the next and the fake media and how the media treated Flynn really badly. And
No, Flynn was talking with the Russians. Go ahead.
so, but he even said, if, someone asked him, okay, so did Flynn talk with the Russians about the sanctions? And he said, well, if he didn't, I would have told him to anyway.
No, see, let me tell you something, and I'm going to call names. Well, no, I'm not going to call names because I don't want to elevate them. There are people who are very defensive of this gentleman, and I can tell them one thing, and they have to sign on to this. They have no choice but to sign on to this. If there's one person on the planet who cannot say, and y'all talk bad about him, it's him. Okay? Then forget about the issues.
Okay.
We don't want to deal with the issues. But if there's one person who does not have the right to say no one should talk bad about someone, it's him. He has no right. He talked bad about everyone.
Exactly.
He calls them fools and idiots and stupid, and he mimics disabled people.
Yeah.
He has
He
no
talks
right
about
whatsoever.
women
Oh,
in a very
yeah. We
derogatory
have it on
manner.
tape.
Yeah.
He grab it. He's a grabber.
It's yes.
Okay? All right. So he has no... He's a wuss.
It's really astonishing though, because it almost makes our politics look
Benign.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. So I recommend
Yeah.
that you have a look on the internets
Right.
when you get a chance.
What I'll do if I'm awake, because I fall asleep now. I'm sleeping better.
Good.
I'm not checking my phone after a certain period. Period.
That's a big step.
Yeah, and I don't care. And if
Even
you need
better.
to reach me that bad, the people who do, they can get me. So if it's about, the water's leaking, fix it.
That can wait.
Because I can't do anything about it. Thanks for letting me know. I think what I'll try to do maybe is watch my man Lawrence.
O'Donnell?
Yeah,
You like him?
yeah,
Okay.
I do. The other people, he's extreme. I got it. I get it.
But you enjoy that.
But he's not.
What,
I don't know.
He doesn't pull back? He doesn't pull back?
But I just think that he it's more articulated extremism. You know, it's not just a rant.
Right. He does make an attempt to back it up.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite is Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
I enjoy her because she makes you think about things in a way that.
I want you to watch something about Rachel, which why I can't watch her. She repeats the same thing for like 20 minutes. And it just freaks me out. Okay, I got it.
She wants to make sure you understand.
No, I think she's filling in. I think it's like
her lead in is 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
That
and
first,
watch that lead in.
But it's sometimes you're watching it and you're going, wow, like what is she connecting this to? And I like that. You're trying to figure out how does this fit in?
Let me give you an example. And I can't do it because we don't have that kind of time. Okay? Let's say you make a statement that says Kendrick is bald. Okay? Kendrick is bald. And of all the people who should know that Kendrick is bald, the rest of the bald people can tell you that Kendrick is bald. Okay? I want to tell you something about Kendrick. He doesn't have hair. Okay? If you go down to the store and you look there and you look at everyone, there's a line of people. You can pick Kendrick out because he's the one who doesn't have hair. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a thing. When you go home tonight and you watch Rachel Maddow for the first 20 minutes, tell me if she hasn't hammered the same point at least 5 times.
Well, that has not been my experience.
No,
but
because you're not checking. You're in love with her.
Right.
I'm asking you to check.
I do. I enjoy her show.
Right, okay.
I like Chris Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
But he annoys me a little because he talks over his guests.
People, right.
But I like him.
Uh-huh.
What
and
about
I don't. That fellow? What's his name?
Chris Hayes.
Chris Hayes.
I could take him or leave him.
Yeah.
Although he did have a great show last night.
What was his show about?
He had Susan Sarandon back on.
Oh, okay.
He had her on last year, and she was ranting and raving about she could never vote for
extreme,
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, so she got what she wanted.
And that's
Those
what
are the
he
people.
said.
Yeah.
And he said, was it worth it?
Mm-hmm.
And
what did she say?
It was a beautiful moment. Well, she started going on. Why are we talking about the past? We need to move
the
forward.
Past? No, we're in the now. In the now.
Anyway, it was good stuff.
No, no. I think that this fellow Flynn, that he is. When you see in Washington D.C., when you see stuff like this, it's not the end.
No. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
And the thing that the Trumpster has going against him is he has a whole range of people who will do what they can to destroy him. Okay?
True.
The media won't hesitate.
Oh, no. I mean, they're out for blood.
Okay? And they've got tons of people in these organizations who don't put anything down in writing, Dawn, because they will leak it.
Well, and exactly, he has now he's saying he's going to have the spy agencies reviewed.
Who, what?
Trump is saying that he's going to have the spy agencies in the U.S. reviewed. So he's making even a bigger enemy now.
Yeah, he's screwed.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you, he's got connections with Trump, with Putin.
Something is going on.
The guy Tillerson, right? Mm-hmm. He's a big Russian guy.
Yeah, former head of
Flynn,
Exxon. Yeah.
big Russian guy. Trump, it's gonna cut. And I have now mixed feelings because I want him to stay as long as he can.
Who's that?
Trump, because I can't deal with Pence. I think Pence, and I every time I say Pence, I feel like I'm on that Saturday Night Live thing. Right. Puny Pence. I think that Pence is a scary dude.
I can't even think about Pence right now.
Yeah, Pence is scary. Okay, so just keep that in mind.
Well, it might be President Pence.
Because the Republicans, because they have Pence, because what is his name, McConnell and Ryan like Pence.
Yes.
They will not hesitate to impeach Trump.
Well, I think Ryan and McConnell are thinking they don't want to upset Trump yet because they think he's still very popular. But over time, they will.
Well, if he
turn
screws
on
up,
him.
they will have the capacity to say, "Listen, we're accountable people."
Yep.
But you know what's sad? And this is really kind of almost, again, this is just, like a psychotic thing, that with the label of dishonesty that they put on Clinton for some emails, and by the way, I'm not condoning it, but the fact that she deleted some emails, or you don't know what the email, so whatever, I don't think even gets anywhere near the level of corruption that these guys are into. This Tillerson guy and all that, you know the deals they must be making.
No, but even during the campaign, they ignored so much about Trump that was so much bigger. And, they're talking now about, the New York Times and the Washington Post, this is true democracy, it's because of their reporting. I think the New York Times went way overboard with the Hillary email stories.
Yep.
Way overboard.
Well, they're all regretting it now. They're all regretting it. But it'll be interesting. It's good. You can report to me, because I don't, I'm only going to watch the stuff that screws him over.
Okay.
That's all I'm watching. Like when someone resigns, I'm watching that.
Well, that'll be all over the TV.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be right back. And he'll be in charge of him. You see what I'm saying? Okay, good. See, I just convinced you. Okay, now, let's deal with some local shenanigans. And again, we the people, we the public, we don't know. We're just we're just sitting here and being fed stuff, right?
We're just observers.
We're just observers and absorbers. Get it? Observers and absorbers.
I got it.
O&O. So, Chipman sparks boundary row. MP claims draft was changed after he signed a report. Now, look, if you come to me and you give me a checkbook, okay, and the checkbook is blank, or no, that's not a good example. The checkbook has $1,000 on it, okay, and you say sign it, and I sign it. I sign it. Two things. One, the checkbook, if you notice, has a counterfoil. It's a copy.
Right. There's a record.
I'm showing you evidence it's a copy.
There's a record.
Okay, right. Secondly, if you then, Kendrick, because you're dishonest, if you come and you add, because you're not going to add a 0, you're too deep for that, you add a 1, make it 11. Okay? It's 11,000 instead of 1,000. And I say to the bank, look, man, I wrote this check for $1,000. I signed it. I gave it to Kendrick because it was in his name, and he added a 1. Okay? He added a 1. And they go, well, we have the... I then come and I give you... Well, see, this is what I think. Okay? Now, then people who are, in their case, the bank, they're the public, they're the absorber, they can go, well, Mr. Williams, sorry, sir, and we have the counterfoil for 1,000, we're arresting you. Okay? There's no ambiguity.
Right.
Why can we not just get the right answer? We're going to go through and there's not going to be any certainty? Someone is a liar, pants on fire.
So how does it work? So
I don't know how it works.
When you sign the report, does every member of the committee get a copy of that report? I'm just asking.
I don't know.
Question.
Apparently not. Apparently they're free to change it without you having copies of what you signed.
I mean, I haven't read the story in full. Has any other member of the committee come forward to make the same claim? Is there any corroboration of Chipman's story? Because the speaker has denied it, I think.
And let me read this first paragraph. Members of Parliament clashed in House after the allegations of St. Anne's Hubert Chipman made in a letter to House Speaker, in which he claimed that the draft order, don't know what that is, the draft order for constituency boundaries that was tabled last week differed significantly. It's not even a 1. Okay? It's like 11. You added 11, okay, to the 1. All right? Significantly from the report he signed as the official opposition's representative on the constituency. Dr. Major read the letter into the record, then called it extraordinary, unprecedented, and said it possibly impugns his character, and blah, blah, blah. So, you got a couple of things going on. I was in a daze. I don't know what I signed. I signed the thing. I'm right, and the other people cheated. It's gotta come on. We can't just be in a limbo thing here. This is serious stuff.
I'm gonna read the article when we break again.
Okay, you want that? It's serious stuff to make that allegation, and it's serious either because you're a liar and making the allegation, or well, let's go through the scenarios. You're a liar, and you just said this is what happened, and it didn't. You're insane. You could be insane. You're insane, and you're just delirious and delusional, and you don't know what's going on in life, and then or you did sign something that was significantly different.
Right.
On the other side, you're a cheat. You're either a cheat, you put in the 11, or you are correct. These are the 5 scenarios.
It's disturbing.
Oh God, I feel like I live on the dark side of the moon. You know, if I had said to him, I should have had the theory, the music in the background. You know, the Kendrick, do you know the Dark Side of the Moon? Pink Floyd. Yeah, it's not fathomable. You know,
I mean, I'm going to read the article.
Yeah, read the
article. I'm
article.
not going to comment until I.
It's a big thing.
It's a huge.
Do you need to? What do you tell me? What it is that you need to read?
What I need to.
You don't need to read anything.
I need to find out because I am assuming that there's further
Erica
explanation.
is 10 feet tall. You don't need to read anything.
I want to know what the explanation is.
Yeah, but I'm saying, suppose I said that. Okay?
Right.
What is it that you need to read? No, there's Erica. She's actually 5'4". Okay?
Well, no, a listener who does not know me could think, they don't think anybody is 10 feet tall.
But then they could wait outside. They could wait outside and go, you know what? He's a nut.
Right, because she's 5'5".
5'5", sorry.
Actually.
Yeah, okay. So I'm a liar both ways. Okay.
So it is disturbing, though, that this could even come to this.
Can you not have a scenario where we could know, just a basic thing like that? So I want to kind of jettison past the point of despair. Is that possible?
When you figure that out, please let me know.
Do you like my word jettison?
I do.
Okay.
It's very good.
Okay.
I'm very impressed.
It's just another version of fast forward. I've been telling you all this all along. Okay? Okay? I want to just get into a thing of like when I see that I just go and then move on.
It just rolls off your back.
Yeah. Caramel macchiato, please. Once I read that and I just forget it.
Well, no, that's not good though either.
No, it's not good, but then I don't need to be. It is serious, but what they're doing, Erica, is they're trying to drive me insane.
Yeah, this is all about Ed.
No, I'm saying me as the public. Mm-hmm. Because remember what I told you? Was it you on Monday? I know I said to Kendrick about the regime mentality.
Yes, yeah, we were talking about that.
Okay, in another country like El Salvador or something like that, what they would do is you'd see a headline, Erica Wells missing.
Right.
Okay? All right? Okay? Family does not know her, and this is a good word, whereabouts. Okay? Mm-hmm. They do not know her whereabouts. She's been missing for 8 weeks.
Right.
Okay? And then they would find you like in a unmarked grave.
Right.
Okay? Now, here they do this. They do, what's the thing? Read it out.
Chipman sparks boundaries row.
And what is the claim?
MP claims draft was changed after he signed report.
Erica Wells is missing. Boundaries report changed. See? So one is a physical assault.
Right.
And one is a mental assault.
Yeah.
Okay? That's all this is. This is mental assault. We are sitting in a place where, it's almost more peaceful to just be missing.
Or just to ignore.
What again?
To ignore it.
To ignore that, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I guess people who live in El Salvador probably have to ignore the fact that people around them every day are missing. The neighborhood is less congested. Okay? Crime rates are going down dramatically. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing, and as I say, what I don't hope, and I say this, it's not political. Get off the political kick. What I hope is that we have not finally arrived, but I don't dispel it, because if someone will be in a situation where they could have Erica Cox is missing in order to maintain power, someone can change the boundary commission. That's easy.
True.
That's an easy one, man. We're not hurting anyone. Just write 11.
let's just change.
Just write
that.
2 ones.
Let's just change that
Yeah,
now.
just change that.
But we're laughing, but it is a very serious matter, and I hope that there's some
resolution.
Yes, something.
Well, I fear that. Well, I'm not gonna make any predictable or predictive.
Statements.
Well, I was going to say I'm not going to predict despair or disparaging stuff. Just let's hope it's an honest mistake. Can we leave it at that?
Can you make a significant honest? Well, I guess you can.
But see, the reason I'm being facetious, because Erica Wells Cox missing, it just can't be an honest mistake.
Right.
Okay? We didn't just honestly mistakenly put her in a shallow, unmarked grave. Okay? It's deliberate.
Yeah.
Whatever happened, and this is both sides, if he said that it's been changed significantly, he either deliberately misled us.
Right.
If it was changed, then they deliberately changed it.
Right. So either way, it's
screwed.
bad. Very
I know
bad.
you don't want to say screwed on the radio. But anyway, it's an assault, and I think it is time now. And I see where the civil society is doing some stuff that I see about focusing on electoral reform, term limits, primaries,
campaign finance.
That's not going to happen. Cross that off.
No.
Well, leave that to later.
Okay.
Because it's just not going to happen until you get some honorable people in who want to do that. But certain term limits, primaries, local government issues, independent boundary commission. There was another couple of things I saw. Did you see it? The list?
You speak of the Independent Boundaries Commission. Remember, we had the first referendum.
Yes, ma'am.
Wasn't that one of the questions?
Yes, ma'am.
And it got voted down, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That disturbs me a great
Now,
deal.
if I remember correctly, I don't know. I have to check this out. I don't know if the Independent Boundaries Commission has to go to the referendum. I don't know.
So that was just sort of put out there.
It was in a package.
Yeah, because there were 5 questions.
Right, because there was the independent, something to do with education.
Yeah, something to do with education.
Yeah, and then there was the Independent Boundaries Commission, and there was the gender thing. And then there was something else. I don't know if it was a political question.
They all kind of got swept in.
Oh, it became PLP against FNM.
Which is really unfortunate.
Which again, schizophrenia. They all voted for it unanimously. So the people of this country, I can assure you, are going to wake up, and they're going to say, "Okay, good, you had your turn now. We'll take it from here. You're fired." And I'm talking about all of them. Right. You're fired. We have, what I want people to realize is that there's and I wouldn't call it a flaw, there's a weakness in the system at the party level that allows you to take over the party. Okay? All you have to do is show up. Just show up, fill out the form. I'm a member of your party. Okay? And if 1,000 people do that, they got control. Okay, because if you don't put my guy in, who has represented himself to be someone who I think could be the right candidate, then we'll just vote for him aside from your party.
Right. I mean, some people are so turned off of politics, though.
Yeah, but as we get in more and more dire straits, and we don't want to get to such of a strait that you're violent and there's still a path to civil a civil process to change, and it's there waiting for you and all of your neighbors to simply go and show up.
Right. Well, I mean, we're not as passive as we used to be.
No.
But I think that has a lot to do with the way that information is disseminated now.
Right.
There's more information.
Right.
People are seeing more things.
And
they
the
can
one
make better decisions.
And the one thing that people are missing right now is being led down the right path. There's a lot of people who are angry and want to change, but they don't know the path. What has to happen is, and that's why we keep, and I'm not trying to say that ours is the path. I see a clear path that is civil, that is easy, and that's why we keep repeating it over and over and over and over again. Get up off your butt is the path.
Right.
That's all. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here along with Erica Wells-Cox. And what's the matter, Erica?
Because you always say my name.
Well,
you give
at
it
least I
such
don't call
flourish.
Exactly.
Thanks.
And Kendrick Williams, who's our engineer. And our guest this afternoon is Mr. Stephen Greenslade, who is the DNA candidate for Southern Golden Isles. Yeah. At least I'm in the right area. Okay, yeah. They all kind of blend to me. Golden Isles. That's your opponents would then be Mr. Halkitis.
Yes.
And Mr. Gibson.
Gibson. Yes.
Yeah. So this is your first. I'm going to use another word. Foray into the political arena, correct?
It is.
Yeah.
It is my first foray in political arena, and actually I jumped right in, so to speak, because the closest I came to politics and actively being involved in politics may have been voting for my candidate over a period of time.
Yeah. So you know, I mean, obviously, because I thought of this, and I just get a kick out because it's just so thing. You got the green, what stripes? He's got the green plaid. It's all very cute. Listen, because you got to go green, you got to go. They do the same thing in the States. They do it everywhere in the world now. What you know? So the question I think I have to ask. This is we'll ask 1,000,001 questions, but the question I have to ask is, if I sitting on the outside here, and Erica sitting on the outside over there, and Kendrick sitting over there, can say to you, the math doesn't add up for a third party. You know, we're not being we're not being judgmental. We're just going mathematical.
Yeah.
That in the last election, I think the Free National Movement lost 18 seats by 300 votes or less. Okay? So even if there's a shift to the DNA, okay, then you might have a scenario where one party will lose by just more votes, and then the third party, that being the PLP, would still have their base, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Why? If you're, and again, we're not picking sides here. Make sure that we're dealing with math. Your objective is to, I assume, first and foremost, see the PLP lose the government, correct? With you wanting to be the alternate.
Yes. Logically, yes.
Right. So how does that work mathematically?
Those mathematicians among us will opine without deep analysis that it can't work. But the DNA came about because we've seen our country governed would deem in the wrong way over the past 40 years, especially in the past 15 to 25 years. The DNA is formed of a group of Bahamians who genuinely and truly believe in making significant changes in this country. Yes, on the face of it, the numbers may or may not add up. But we are pushing that cause for change. And we are believing and hoping that the majority of our people, the masses of our people, will wake up and realize that we need to change our direction now, analyze the DNA for what it's really all about and what it's really worth, and make a decision to
All
move
right,
in that
so,
direction. or
and
take
by
a
the way,
chance
this is
on
the
us.
first. This is the first time I'm going to be honest with you, as I said in my thing, that I've spoken to a DNA candidate or a party member, other than maybe in private, in a kind of a public forum, right? So this is all about trying to understand. And also, and I don't know, I'm sure, I don't listen, I say this publicly, I happen not to listen to radio, so I've not heard, other people talking.
Yeah.
Because this is how I try to analyze things in the most simplest,
Yeah.
logical way that I can. So, if you have a team, the New England Patriots,
Mhm.
and Kendrick, what team played in the Super Bowl? I lost. The Falcons. Okay. Let's say they showed up with 8 guys. Let's just say they showed up with 8 guys. And their thing was, we believe we have the best 8 guys, and we believe some other people are going to join us in the middle of the game. Okay? We know that 8 guys, it probably can't pull it, but we believe.
You coming from the natural eye point
I
of
coming
view.
from rational. I coming from rational. So
Yeah.
now here's the thing now, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is
Yeah.
the beauty.
Mhm.
I could get you going on that bent once. Okay? I could get you doing that. Where we try that and we hope that there's a, Now, let's say we playing for some more serious stuff than just a game. Let's say
Championship.
for just a championship.
Uh-huh.
Let's suppose the ramification is whoever wins, die. I mean, lose. Whoever loses dies.
Mhm.
Okay? Whoever wins stays alive, and whoever wins dies.
That's
You could take that chance a second time around.
Yeah, that's some hypothetical
Reality.
analogies there, But again, and the key word is reality.
Uh-huh.
The reality has to set in for us, and I think it's really setting in now for a lot of Bahamians. You can hear on the streets everywhere you go now that persons are saying that they are fed up with the manner in which our country was governed
Yeah, I think we can accept that.
over time.
Yeah.
Right? And they're not seeing indications from our current leadership that will give
Change
them
it.
the
Change
comfort
right.
that change will indeed come. And I was thinking the other day, I said to myself, if everything in this country was reasonably the way it should be, the economy is stable, unemployment is at a rate that we could, tolerate. Crime is out of our way, so to speak. And many of the stumbling blocks don't exist or didn't exist. I wouldn't be in this race.
Yeah. Well, see, no,
I would be-
and don't get me wrong, Mr. Greenslade.
Yeah.
I am definitely, and I would be the last to do this, not questioning your intent or your motive.
Yeah, I say that's an example.
Yeah, because it's. I'm
Yes.
sure, listen,
Yeah.
let me tell you something, my friend. Anyone who wants to get into this thing that you
Oh.
are in.
Let me tell
Well,
you.
again, remember I was given the scenarios. Either you're delusional, you're an idiot, or you're honorable. It's one of the three.
One of the
so
three,
you
and-
could tick the box you want to
Yeah.
fill in. But the point I'm making is this, right? There's also historical here. We had Mr. Frank Watson on a couple of months ago.
That was December. I think.
Yeah, and from an internal perspective, when it was right after the 7 had left. I
Right,
guess there's
right
6.
after.
I guess there's 6 now. Right after the 7 had left the Free National Movement, right?
Yeah.
And Mr. Watson said, "Look, man, Ed." That's how he speaks. He says, "I have
Nice
been, I fought for the Free National Movement for many, many, many years,
Yes.
and I've seen what a split opposition can do.
Yes.
I will be voting for the F&M because the other ways don't work. So there's historical data here. So you then believe now that there's
right,
going to be
let's
something that changes.
Let's
It's
look
a
at it
drastic
this way
change.
then.
Yeah.
In 1967, the Progressive Liberal Party came along. There were a
Correct.
couple of other groups in there too, I think. Right?
Yeah, but
Change.
they were united. Yeah.
Yeah, they were united. Yeah. Change one era in our history.
Uh-huh.
All right? Or set the pace for an era in our
right.
history. The Free National Movement Kim was born around 1974.
One in 1992. Yeah.
Right? And one in 1992.
Right.
That was another era.
Right.
We are at that juncture again. And the DNA has emerged as an organization, a political organization, poised
Right.
to take us into our next era.
Well, listen, I appreciate your mission statement, but this is my thing. Again, I'm trying to analyze this, and then we'll get into some policy things that I'm gonna just talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to go back and analyze, you can analyze this. In 1967, the PLP, which had a massive united front against the then
UBP.
UBP, because they formed the UBP after the PLP, still only managed to win narrowly because people were afraid of change.
Yep.
Nonetheless,
Then the
they
PLP
won.
Say again?
Nonetheless, they won.
Yeah, they won by they won with the independent vote.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Then you had for 25 years. You know what you had for 25 years? You're probably a young fella. For 25 years, you know what you had? A fractured opposition. And for 25 years, the fractured opposition, I can name all, SDP, BDP, BDM, all kind of M and P and C, okay, lost because of their being fractured. In 1992, it was because the FNM and the time, like you say, came, and there were factions led by Mr. Ingram, in fact, who was able to actually swing, I think, some PLPs, some disenfranchised PLPs into the FNM, but there was no other party. It was just those two.
I hear what you say.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of the history.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I lived most of it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my experience in politics, although I was an active most of my life, came when my dad was involved in campaigning for Frank Watson.
So did I do a good impression?
You did a good impression, a very good impression.
Come on, man.
Right?
Yeah.
But I would venture to say this, Ed, that our electorate is much more matured today than we were back then. Our dynamics has changed a bit, meaning that the voting demographic is now populated with a younger generation of Bahamians.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. I just think you're going to still have, we'll leave it here. I just think that the reality is you have a party, they have a party, Kendrick have a party, and people are going to follow those various parties.
That is true.
So you're going to just end up with a split. It doesn't matter if you get 60% of one side of the opposition or they get 60%. You need 100.
In your mind, what's the worst case scenario under circumstances like that?
Well, I just think that, and I'm not, again, I try to do this from an analytical perspective as to say, well, I want one to win or one to win. I'm saying that the opposition, I'm dealing with the opposition now, that the opposition places themselves in a kind of really disadvantaged position by being split. Yeah. If again, the New England Patriots rolling in, man, they got 12, they got some people on the bench. Yeah. They're rolling in. They got 15, how much Super Bowl? They got 5 Super Bowl rings. They got everything going on. Then two teams, well, man, we don't know if we really want to go play with them and all that. The chances against, I'm talking about betting. I bet now, right? The chances of me betting on them are slim. With the people in Vegas, what you call them, the bookmakers, they ain't putting no money on them. So,
and that's based on some realities.
That's just
those realities might be
obviously
evident.
It's just numbers.
They might not be there.
Yeah,
but the point is,
people want to change.
Yeah.
And they can make a decision, okay, do I go with you or do I go with the other guy? And then, as opposed to, I just go with one guy versus the other guy. Now I got one guy and then I got two guys,
And then the other thing is, for the DNA, considering the DNA, we do have a need to improve the governing regimes in this country, or the governing regime in our country. And that regime consists of the administration and the opposition, for the most part. So we have to make changes.
We need some structural changes, there's no doubt.
So we have no choice but to look at parties like DNA.
Yeah.
to
I
bring
will
about that
I will
change
ask you
in
this
our
last
society.
I will ask you this last, opposition split related question, and that is, well, it'll be a two-part question. What is there any hope for any sort of unification, coalition, congealing, coming together,
I don't like
all
that
the
word,
C words?
congealing.
Congealing,
I
like
don't
coming
that.
together as,
Yeah.
and actually it's a good word. You know why? It's a
It's a
sticky
good word,
mess.
but-
It's a sticky, you know what?
Yeah.
Because whatever it is, it's messy. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's actually the best word. Okay,
All right.
but is there any possibility for that, with the big picture in mind of winning?
Ed, that thought came to mind. And you would have heard our leaders say in the past that we did look at the possibility of whether and if there has to be a coalition. But the DNA party is growing so fast and so strong. The voting public are echoing their desire to have change in the Bahamas and to give the DNA an opportunity. And besides, you have two structured organizations now, and that level of collaboration is somewhat difficult to negotiate.
Well, see, this is the thing.
You see,
this
so
is the thing.
there's
I
a
always
lot
say
more
you
involved
in the
than-
law enforcement security type business, right?
Yeah.
And I always say, you bring up a great example that people don't realize. They don't realize it has nothing to do with coming together. It comes to do with what is. So an example is, my thing on the decriminalization of drugs. Okay. In
Marijuana, not drugs.
I out on full limb. I'm in Portugal now. Now here's what I'm saying, but it's a principle I'm talking about, not
Okay.
getting into. In the 40s, okay, in the 40s. No, I'm not attributing that to you. I'm talking about my.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
In the 40s when they had the 30s, whatever, when they had the alcohol prohibition.
That was the
Yeah.
20s,
Right.
yeah.
When they had the alcohol prohibition, to repeal that was not a big deal because they had about 100 people, the untouchables, that they rolled into the FBI or the ATF or whatever. Do you realize what happens now if globally they decide to decriminalize drugs? Do you know how many people are affected? You got the DEA, you got you got people with boats and aircraft carriers. Where do you put those people?
It creates a destabilization of the global circumstance.
For
lack of a
those
better
people who
word,
work
right?
in that scenario, yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's the same scenario with you. It's not just a matter of two guys getting together anymore. It's two structures.
Exactly.
Because now Mr. Martin has to say to you, Brother Greenslade, I can need you, if you could, I'm only being hypothetical,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying? And that involves a lot of stuff.
Right, and you have ideologies to look at.
Yeah.
You got philosophies to look at. You got people who
Workers and
who
volunteers.
decide to give themselves to a cause.
Right.
And,
And
to
then you
now
gotta tell
tell
them-
them, listen, we're going in that different direction.
Yeah.
I'm still open-minded to it, Ed.
Yeah.
Because we don't know. Election day isn't here yet.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
gone
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
So I'm open-minded to it.
Okay.
And I'm open-minded to what's best
For the
the
country.
Bahamas.
Well, I'd like to hear that.
What's best for the Bahamas.
All right,
You know,
we can take a little break, and then we're going to talk about what you believe is best for the Bahamas. How's that? I see the operatives are sending in information. It's good. All right, we have with I've been through this, Erica. We have Mr. Stephen Greenslade, who let me just ask. First of all, let's just say, and by the way, because I'm not doing a candidate by candidate show over the next couple of months, so I don't want to get too deep into it. But you're the deputy chairman of the DNA,
Yes.
and what business are you in? You are in the security.
I'm in the security
Business.
industry.
That's a
and,
growth industry.
It is a growth industry. It's growing fast.
Yeah.
It has
So
a
in theory, you know, I don't know if I want to trust you to get rid of crime. I'm only joking. I'm agreeing. No. Obviously, I'm sure you
I'm
would.
in other industries as well.
Okay. So maybe you'll hedge yourself.
Yeah,
And that by getting rid of the
somewhere
crime,
else.
you can hedge yourself up in
You
that
were
way.
on the police force for a number of years, right?
Oh, okay. I
For
didn't know that.
6
Okay.
years. 6
All right.
years
All right.
between 1988 and 94.
So you're the future cabinet minister for national security then?
Yes,
You're
I am the
There you
future
go. There you go.
Minister of National Security.
All right. So let's talk. There was one other question, and I don't know how to quite ask it, but I think it's important to ask this. You know what? I'm not going to ask it. I'm going to ask the gentleman who I think I need to ask that to, and that's Mr. McCartney. So when we have him on, I'll ask him that. There's no sense asking someone else about someone else's motive. We'll ask the person himself.
Yeah.
We ask you about your motives.
Sure.
So let's talk about ideology. That's where we left off. Okay. Now, I've long been under the impression that essentially the Bahamas doesn't really have any ideological difference in the traditional sense, conservative versus liberal. You know, it seems to me that everyone's left of center. What is, though, the differential between the DNA's ideology, the FNM's ideology, because some would say it's just a personality thing, and the PLP's ideology?
Well, the DNA ideology really is to place power back in the hands of the people. So we may be looked at like as a liberal mentality group.
More libertarian.
More libertarian than conservative. The FNM, yes, we can. If you compare them to compare our system to other systems, will appear to be more conservative and capitalist type of mentality or ideology. And the Progressive Liberal Party is similar in terms of the liberal mentality because their original core philosophy really was to empower the people. So there's not a lot of difference in our ideologies, but there's a lot of difference in our genuineness in terms of our sincerity when it comes to politics and our view of governance, in my opinion.
Now I'm going to ask you two questions. Erica, please jump in here. Yeah. It seems to me that the basis we had a guy, Rupert Pinder, on a couple of weeks. He's an economist. I don't know if you know Rupert. It seems to me that the real thing that Bahamians are looking for, other than some political reformation in terms of structure, is management capacity.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
The capacity to manage our country.
Yes.
Seems to be what is void and what is the center of everything. So does that make how do you view that?
Now,
statement?
that could be perception too. And here's why I say that. And I start by saying, affirming that based on what I'm seeing in the DNA, it do have the capacity to manage the Bahamas governmental affairs. But I see good management capacity in the current administration as well. But for me, the issues that surround our governance now is where I get my level of confusion. Because I see smart people who, in many instances, are thinking out of the box. They're putting things in place that will benefit the Bahamas in time. They're putting policies in place to ensure that all of the responsibility of government are met, and there's a long-term reality for that, I guess. But I see the continuous need for us to clean up our political culture that continue to interfere with governance and develop a perception that makes us appear as if we're not being properly managed.
So let's use an example. You're a businessman, okay? You're a businessman. A lot of your colleagues in the DNA are business people.
Yes.
And we have gone from something like, I think it was 58. In fact, the first show that I did, which was with the Prime Minister, the very first show, I remember I had my little purple folder and I had all the notes. And one of the things we pulled up was the Bahamas position from the whoever group does it in the ability to do business. And I think it was like in 2000 something, we were like 58.
Yeah.
And we're now 121.
121, yeah.
How does this show management aptitude? It's to me it doesn't.
It questions it.
And you're in business, you know that it's gotten more and more difficult.
Yes, and that's because, by and large, again, because of our views politically, our politics skew, in my mind, skew the view and the outlook of our government of representatives to an extent that it causes their decisions to seem as if they're not capable of managing properly. That's my analysis, because I look at the projects that they put together, and you have to have a good level of aptitude to be able to construct some of these projects on paper, conceptually, from a vision perspective, and bring it, present it. So my question really isn't aptitude. It is will, desire, and genuine intention.
Okay.
When Mr. Greenslade, when you talk about management and aptitude, your specialty is security. What's your opinion on how this administration is managing crime? Dr. Nottage got up in the House yesterday and outlined a crime strategy that they were going to use to address this latest kind of spasm of crime that we've been experiencing. What are your thoughts on that? What will the DNA bring to the crime fight?
We'll bring well-structured management, seeing that we're using that word now, to crime. The strategy that the police force is intending to implement now is similar to what you would call a problem-oriented policing, where you realize that you have a surge in crime, or particular type of crime, in this case is murder, and you need to control that. So you put in extra enforcement to control that. And in this case, they're using a number of strategies in a plan to address that, because they have to determine where the guns are coming from and landing on our shores, and how they're moving about on our islands. They have to determine who the persons are who are planning these criminal acts, the root of it, the extent of it, because some of these crime organizations extend wide. I call them crime organizations, and some persons might call them gangs. Right. They extend wide. There are multiple hotspots in New Providence alone. So the police force has to come up with this particular type of strategy to suppress that criminal element, bring it under control, and manage it going forward. And there are so many scales of management.
It's crisis management. I mean, it's a crisis management strategy, right?
They're reacting.
Yeah.
Right. So crime is a social problem.
Of course.
Right. So what about sort of being proactive in the crime fight so we don't get to this point where we're having these spasms? What's the DNA platform to address that?
Yes, we will start by completely looking at either revamping or enhancing our criminal justice system. One of the key things that we identify in our society is that a lot of our younger men are being exposed to criminal element and crime careers. So we'll focus programs that will reel them in, so to speak. We have persons who leave school earlier than they should. We have to focus programs on capturing those persons and keeping them in the school system so they can get full development. We have to look at the family structure. Representatives like myself have to pay attention, and we do plan to pay attention to family-oriented programs that develops the family structure, community development programs that enhances the community and helps to make a way for the young people to filter into society through the proposed path. From a crime management perspective, our plans include to bring all of the law enforcement agencies together communicatively to ensure that if crime happens in any area of law enforcement, it could be custom, immigration, the police force, there's a system that identifies an arrest, and that filters into one communication database, and that could be shared between all the agencies. So information sharing and networking at that level is important, so we'll look to enhance that. I noticed in the Minister of National Security's address that that is a component in their crime plan and the crime enhancement plan.
Do you not to interrupt you, but do you know that were you aware that, and this number might be off because it's been a couple of years since I've revisited it, that the Duke of Edinburgh, the Governor General's Youth Award program, has had probably somewhere between 10 and 15,000 kids pass through it.
Yeah.
And that not one of those kids have ever gone to jail? Were you aware of that? And the reason I bring that up is because they are probably, as we speak, fighting to find resources. And you know, there are other organizations like that mimicked, right?
Yeah.
Fighting to find resources. And probably, you know, 2 police cars is what their annual budget is, okay? And rather than waiting for the person to become a criminal, right? Rather than waiting for the person to become a criminal and having to buy police cars, why are we not? I got the music of it, so we're going to take a break and we'll come back and we'll answer that.
All right.
Okay.
But there are scores of programs.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here along with Erica Wells-Cox and Kendrick Williams. How are you doing, Erica Wells-Cox?
I'm doing well.
Good. I wish I had a double name.
You can use
I can't.
your middle name.
No, I can't.
What's your middle name, Ed?
My middle name is Anthony.
Edward Anthony Fields.
Yes.
That sounds very distinguished.
You like that name?
I do.
Good. All right, so, but it's not like Wells-Cox. Now, Mr. Green, we have Mr. Greenslade, who is kind of the double name. You could be Green or Slade. You know, and you got the thing going with the DNA.
Your show.
What's that?
I used to listen to your show when it's just off the subject.
Yeah, we can be off the subject. I don't mind. We're out of the box.
Yeah, you were just, you know, when yourself.
100 Jams. Kirk and Eric and Kirk.
Eric and
yeah. I'm Ed.
Yeah.
And we had fun.
Oh yeah.
We had fun because you know what? Who cares? You know what I mean? See, the problem is everyone's worrying about form. You know, as you can see, I don't have much form, or too much form. Kendrick, you laughed at that. I noticed on the side of my face.
Yeah.
All right. So when we left, we talk about
crime.
Management, right? And crime was the example we used. And I just get so frustrated. I mean, there's so many reasons to be frustrated. Listen, Stephen, I try my best to, even though I promote this thing about jettisoning past despair, I try my best to see hope.
Yeah.
Because you know, if you focus on the frustration, you just get worn down.
What? You cannot give up hope.
No, you can't. That's what I'm saying. I focus on the potential.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. You have to see hope. and you have to look for that light at the end of the
tunnel.
tunnel.
Yeah.
You have to balance that with reality.
And
Yeah, reality, yeah,
You balance
yeah,
it with
yeah.
reality.
Because if you
and
go through a tunnel and you
bolster it.
think there's light, but it's actually the train with the light in front of it,
Yeah.
and then you got a problem.
But you bolster it with effort.
Yeah, and effort as well.
You bolster
You,
that
you
with
have to
effort.
put in the time, right? You
Yeah.
got to put in the thing.
Yeah.
So do you think? I'll tell you, I circling back, man. Y'all got a powwow, man. So I tell you, I just put that out there.
You can't get beyond the point of the numbers then.
Numbers.
Well, that's true. Numbers.
Because see, I want you to be able to
tells
accomplish your
the reality.
objective.
Yeah.
And by the way,
do you think it's you think it's worth the effort that you're putting in?
Saving this country is worth that and much more.
Well,
but you see, again,
Believe me.
Stephen, my good friend. We've never met before, but he's my good friend now.
Yeah.
Okay, as Mr. Dean is. Okay, you could put that effort in, but if the 5 people go up against the Patriots,
Right. Ed, I'm banking on. I am banking,
banking on the 8 people showing up.
On that 8. I'm banking on the Bahamian people. I'm banking on Bahamian people. I'm telling you, the pain out there is so real.
It is real, and it is
so
what you call
real.
it. It's thick.
Yes, and it's.
Listen, I'm getting off of that point. This is just talk, right? But going back to this thing about the hope is, and I guess this does tie in a little bit with the hope, because we could sit here and we can talk about programs, and I think, listen, everyone, you're a smart young man. We know what we have to do.
Yes.
You're in business. You know that if you are failing in one strategy, you got to change the strategy.
Exactly.
You got to change the strategy. This is basic business 101.
Right.
But does hope get to a point where what you're doing to arrive at that hope, is that unrealistic? Because I think what you said, you got to balance hope with reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just put that out there. You see, I can't get away from it. I'm trying my best to shift away from it, but I can't get away from it. But now let's talk about the leadership. I want to talk about, where. Go ahead.
I want to respond to that last comment you made,
Okay.
though.
All right.
We may be missing out another part of the equation from a spiritual perspective, and that's faith. That's faith.
Yeah, well.
To exercise the faith and belief that we can move away from any negative circumstance through, again, work and through hope and with faith and with understanding.
But can I throw in another word? Urgency.
Urgency, yes, of course.
Can I throw that word in?
Of course.
Okay.
Urgency is the fuel that drives you forward.
Yeah, because you can, in your business, you can't wait. You got to go out and get. You can't wait for the people to bring it. You got to.
So now we have a vehicle that's headed in the right direction with all those components involved.
Do you feel like there's an urgency to change the direction that the country's going in?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Right.
I'm on the ground, and I feel that urgency.
You feel
yes.
there's an urgency, and you feel
A
like
strong pulse.
right, and you feel like on its own,
The DNA.
the DNA can bring about that change on its own.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't.
And again, I'm sure. Listen. Again, and I'm gonna even put this on the side of the existing government. I'm just gonna put it out there, okay? That everyone wants change. I know there are politicians, I know them, who are in the PLP who say they want change. Somehow we're mired down with something. I don't know what it is. We're mired down with something. But having said that, there are some
change the PLP.
No, I'm talking about some people I'm talking about internally. So for instance, let's say Alfred Sayers, for instance. Let's use his as an example. Okay? In my mind, let me just throw this out at you. In my mind, had Mr. Sayers won the thing, which was also an unrealistic
long shot
thing, but had he won, there is no way a split opposition would have won. None. Zero.
Maybe.
Because enough people would have seen that as a viable change that they would have even become more solid on that side. But that's all wishful thinking and all that.
Yeah.
So if you had to focus on, I'll just say, how much time we got left? let's say one or two specific things that you think are critical to changing the direction of this country, what would they be?
Economic stability and growth, and the elimination of crime.
Okay. And assuming, I'm glad you picked those two, assuming that one led to the other. So let's take crime out of the picture, because crime is a symptom. What is your strategy, and the DNA strategy? But you I assume the DNA is a promoter of independent thinking.
Yes.
What is your thought process on what is required for achieving economic stability?
Wow. I'll go to what I think will turn this economy around quickly.
Okay. Well, that's what we need. We're in the
And
urgent mode.
that will be to stimulate economic activity within the Bahamas, as opposed to seeking to bring more outside involvement.
Or a combination, at least.
A combination, but more internal. So we have the small business sector.
Okay,
we
on
need
the right
to pay
path
attention
right now.
to.
Okay.
We need to make improvements in.
Okay.
We have to create policies that make it better for small businesses to grow from startup to medium size to big, large, whatever, large enterprises and the like. I prefer the growth part for businesses, because a business growth from small to medium to large, the enterprise and branding and franchising provides job opportunities, one, and it provides economic activity, meaning you have money flowing through the economy the way it should flow. To fuel the various arms of the society
so
that
you
need
would
economic.
let me give you an example. So you look right now, I think it costs about $2,000 minimum to get into business. You got to get a business, whatever it is, stamps and this and all that kind of. What is more? Yeah, so Kendrick is talking now. This is affecting him. Yeah. It's 2,000. You got to go to the lawyer. You got to do this. You got to do that, right? But let's just look at government. I think it's like you got to pay 2,000. I think for registering a business.
The registration is 2,000.
What is the 2,000? I heard that number somewhere.
2,000 is to incorporate a business.
Incorporate a business. Okay, all right. Now, you think you figure if I'm a small guy, that's an obstacle, right off the top, right? Let's say I want to sell. Canep. I'm just using that as an example. I mean, I'm being ridiculous. But let's just say I want to incorporate my Canep selling business. Well, $2,000 I'm not going to be doing that. Yeah, so and I might want to hire. I might end up with a Canep chain. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it's reality. People did it with roti and chicken.
Yeah, you could trade. You could go into business and trade under your name.
Yeah.
And then incorporate.
Right. But the point of the matter is the government wants to collect taxes, right? Yeah. So I'm saying, look, rather than prohibit me with a $2,000 deal, one guy, why not reduce that to $100 and get 20 guys doing it?
Okay.
You see that? I mean, that's the kind of philosophy. Let's now have 20 small businesses.
Yeah, I understand that.
One guy.
The point is that argument could be challenged because to incorporate is 2,000.
Right.
You don't have to a business license. You can get a business license for about $100. I think $100, $150 to start up a small business. Okay. But you will trade under your name,
right? Okay.
And the trading name you use.
All right. But it's a hype. I mean, it's not a hypothetical. I'm giving an example of rather than thinking big for one, why not reduce for many? So that you have more people involved, more jobs, more activity.
That exists now. So I can't criticize.
I think that this is what I think, Stephen. Stay off the 2,000. I think that the obstacles to doing business or to starting business are huge. Get off the number for now. So reduce the obstacles so that more people can get in business.
I agree with you 100%.
Why in the world do you need me to have a passport to open up a business?
I agree. There could be some leniency in the requirements.
Just use my national insurance card. That's some leniency.
Yeah.
Why do I have to go to 5 different places?
I think I think we will get there eventually because we are now moving toward full automation in a lot of our agencies.
So you think we're just being impatient and we're
digital
not waiting?
Connection? Huh?
You think I'm being impatient? I'm
Yeah, you're being a little impatient.
Yeah, but we've been waiting for a long time, Brother
A
Stephen.
little.
How long is?
A little impatient, given the fact that we knew what we were getting when we voted in our successive governments. We knew the mentalities we were getting. We saw the track records before us.
So if the DNA comes into power, in the first 100 days, you will be able to let's just take a thing. You will be able to reduce the burden to certain things like opening up a bank account or getting into business by 50%. In terms of not dollars, I'm talking about the stress, the burden.
Effort, yeah.
Well, our economist is going to advise us on that, but I can say based on our philosophy and our...
Is this your economist?
No.
Okay.
No. Our philosophy, we do plan to put policies in place that helps to start to ease the burden of the society immediately.
So, and by the way, and it's just not business. We look at things like turning left on red, things like putting in ordinances that you can't drive through a gas station at a corner.
Modernization.
Yeah.
The bottom line is modernization.
Simple little things. Things like at the airport having a do not declare line for people who have only one carry-on bag.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you can't search it. Doesn't mean that you can't randomly search it, but why do I have to line up behind 30 people with 15 bags?
Yeah, the Bahamas is so close to the U.S. It's hard for us to continue to think of doing things traditionally, right? For starters, in terms of the conversation. So we are very close to a first world country.
Yeah.
So most of the pressure that is borne by the first world country in terms of satisfying its citizen with the basic necessities and levels of comforts and conveniences, our government will feel the pressure to provide those types of services.
But why hasn't it reacted, Stephen? Why hasn't it reacted to? You see, it seems to me, the Romans were very good. The whole place is falling apart. We're having some games. We're having some Coliseum action. Okay, keep us happy. Let's see some tigers and lions, whatever. If you have, this is what I talk about, management and aptitude. If you have a discontented population, and there are what do you call them? There's some low hanging fruit that makes me more comfortable. Like the left hand on saying, why not just do it?
Do it. Politics.
Like not
That's
taking
my
4
answer.
hours
That's your
to
answer?
get your car license.
Politics and our culture of politics.
And you
has
believe
a lot to do with it.
Now let me ask you this question. This is a big bold one here. I know I got 1 minute. I got 1 minute. You better put that music off. You say politics. There's a thing called the public service. Now, tell me how that does not become. How does a willing, non-interfering politician deal with the public service delivering efficient services?
Boy, this is a good one.
That doesn't sound like that's another show.
It's a good one.
You got only 30 seconds, so let's do it.
Listen, you don't decide or make a decision based on your political position, right? You don't make a decision that affect other people based on their political position, persuasion, and following. You ensure that there's full accountability in all of your service areas and your service lines. You ensure that there's high quality output in all of your service lines. You ensure that there is a positive or a healthy flow of movement in your service lines in terms of labor or employees and human resource. You don't clog your system up by keeping your human resource in one block for longer periods of time that they should be. So a government system is designed to flow in terms of its output, the efficiency, And there's a lot of systematic procedures in place to ensure that that flow happens.
All right.
And when there's a breach of it,
You got to deal with it.
you have to deal with it.
Right.
And if you're politically inclined to protect the perpetrator of that breach,
Then it's a problem.
then it's
Well,
it's
you're
politics
making, you're
and it's a
making
problem.
sense. I give you. You're on the show. I've not met you before. I give you a B plus. All right. I give you a B plus. I don't give A's anyway.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
And if we'll see. I'll analyze it and then come back and reevaluate it and give you a B minus. I don't know. Okay, but at least they an F.
I'm grateful.
Okay.
I'm grateful. I'm
All right.
grateful.
All right. Listen, Kendrick. Thank you very much for tolerating my extra couple minutes. Miss Erica Wells Cox. Always a pleasure. Mr.
Always a
Dean,
pleasure.
thank you very much for accompanying Mr. Greenslade.
Yeah.
Mr. Greenslade, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure meeting
Pleasure
you.
there, too.
All right.
Yes.